Hello and welcome back. I'm Dr. Lori Williams. Today I want to talk to you about healing versus performing. So many people say that they want to heal, but they're still performing for things like love, approval, and validation from other people. You can't heal unless you face what is actually going on within you. And if pretending that it's not something that you need to look at or not something that you need to correct within yourself, is part of the performance. So if you have to act like everything is okay in order to be accepted, that's not healing, that's performance. So now that we understand what performance is, I want to go a little bit deeper into it by saying that this is a learned trait. We've learned at a very young age to perform in order to earn love, to earn attention, to earn acceptance, whatever the case may be. Typically we learn that, by being the good one or the smart one or the quiet one, or the one that's easily conformed. All of those reasons teach us that we can, if we become that person, that we can obtain somebody else's love and affection. So it's essentially this mask that we start wearing from a very, very young age. And ultimately, the mask has kept you safe. At one point in your life, it has, kept you connected to something bigger than yourself, which is, feeling safe and all that kind of stuff. But now as an adult, it's this mask, the same mask that was once keeping you safe, is now actually hurting your healing and blocking your healing. So healing begins when you stop trying to look healed and stop using just the lingo of being healed and start being real about what still really hurts and where your triggers are. So when you perform, you're disconnecting from your truth. Your nervous system regulation essentially can't happen because when it's constantly in having to prove yourself, that's a fight or flight response. So when you're constantly in, the mode of trying to prove yourself to somebody else, your nervous system can't regulate. So you're always going to be in that state of overwhelm and fight or flight. Ultimately, you're going to struggle to release pain, because you're still trying to hide it. You're not actually facing it and processing it and releasing it in a healthy way that healing requires. The truth of it is that healing is going to require you to be vulnerable. It's going to require you to be radically honest with yourself and realize that you're not perfect. And the good thing is this healing does not require perfection. That is not something that you need to have in order to heal yourself. You do not need to be perfect in any way, shape, or form. Consistency wins over perfection every single time. So performing for acceptance is going to drain your energy. It's going to keep you acting small, playing small. And the worst part of it is it actually creates an internal conflict between who you are and who you're pretending to be. It's like on the inside, you're one version of yourself, but how you show up in your life and in your relationships is a different version of who you are. So there's this back and forth conflict, internal conflict that's going on as well. Over time, this disconnect from who you truly are is going to show up as anxiety. It can show up as being burnt out, and emotional numbness is just almost to the point where you just really can't feel anything anymore, or you don't want to feel anything anymore. So essentially what you want to do in this case, when you realize that you have been performing and you're wearing that mask of being the performer, is you really need to get true with yourself about who you actually are. What is the difference between who you're showing up as and who you actually are? Chances are, you've probably noticed fleeting moments of who you truly are, but that's not the version of you that you portray to the rest of the world. So ultimately, it's about realizing that you're not on this earth to impress anyone. You're not on this earth to make anyone else's, feel safe. As far as their emotions, they're going to have their emotions as, they're allowed to have their own emotions. It's not your job to make sure that their emotions, you're not responsible for their emotions, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to integrate the true aspects of who you are into who you show up as. Stop wearing the mask and start authentically showing up as who you are. So there's an incredible amount of freedom that comes when you stop allowing yourself to be controlled by what other people think of you, whether or not you're going to lose people because they may not like the authentic version of you, especially if the authentic version of you doesn't cater to them. You know, they're guaranteed they're the ones that are going to be falling away. But you owe it to yourself to be the person that you're here to be, to live in your authentic expression. You're not here to wear the mask. You're not here to, just survive. You're here to truly live, and your freedom truly does start when you stop pretending, when you start being completely vulnerable and completely honest with yourself. Essentially comes down to you having to choose being your authentic self over the approval of others. It's not an easy decision to make, but especially when you do have that programming and that coping mechanism of making sure that everybody else around you is taken care of and making sure that their feelings, their feelings come first. It's hard to change how you've always been showing up, but it's not impossible to change how you've been showing up. You just need to get real with yourself and start to strip away the parts of you that are just performing. They're not the real parts of you. They're just the parts of you that you've had to acquire in order to get through your life up until now. It's safe to let that version of you go. That version of you served a purpose. It's no longer serving a purpose now. And it's time that you get to know your authentic self and start to live as that version of yourself. Because like I said, that's where your true freedom is going to be, is in living as your authentic self. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here next time.